Good morning, everybody. Good to see you again today. I just want to start out with letting you know that today is our theory video number 2, and it's going to cover rhythm, and then we're always going to go back and do a quick review over the lesson that we covered last time on theory video number 1. So today we'll start out with a quick review covering the treble clef notes and how to find them on the actual keyboard today and how to read them on the staff. Okay? So glad that you could join us today, and I hope the videos are going to help you with your theory. Okay, so let's start with looking at the keyboard first. All right, so when you look at your keyboard, you'll remember that our keyboard is divided into 2 black keys and then a set of 3 black keys. And then it alternates all the way down the keyboard. 2 black keys, 3 black keys, 2 black keys, and so forth. So our guidepost note that we're looking for is right to the left of your set of 2 black keys. So the first thing you do is locate your 2 black keys and look to the left, and this is our middle C when you find it on the middle of your piano. Okay, so then if you'll recall, our music alphabet just all the way down the piano repeats itself. So it says A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so forth. But on our keyboard that I've drawn today, we're going to actually start on C, since these are the notes that we did in theory video number 1. So we're going to consider this our middle C. And so if we look at our alphabet, and if we start on C, then our next note, of course, is D, E, F, G. And when we get to the end of the music alphabet, we simply start at the beginning, which is on A. So this is our A, B, C. And notice that we are to 2 black keys again, and it's always going to be a C. So in front of these 2 black keys is letter C, in front of these 2 black keys is letter C, and also in front of these 2 black keys is letter C. So we're going to fill in the others: C, D, E, F, G. When we get to the end of the music alphabet, we start back with A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so you see that repeated pattern, C, D, E, F, G. That's your 5-finger position. That's where we all start when we're learning to play. C, D, E, F, G for the right hand. Then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so forth until you get to the end of the keyboard. Okay? Now, what I want to do next is just point out that those notes that we just looked at on the keyboard look like this on the staff. There's your middle C. When it goes to the note right under the staff, it's letter D. Then first line is E, first space is F. Second line is G. So far, we've covered that 5-finger position, middle C position, that we all start with: C, D, E, F, G. And it moves from a line note to a space note, line note to a space note, line note to a space note, and so forth as we go climbing up the treble clef. All right, so let me move back down. So I'm going to start on middle C. There's middle C. Next is 1 note higher, D, 1 note higher, E. Then the space is F. The second line is G. Then if we keep going up, after we go to G, we start back with an A for the beginning of the music alphabet. So here's our A, second space is A, third line B, C, D, E, F. And if we kept going, it would be G, A, B, C. And those are added lines and spaces above the staff. Most of you have not gotten to that yet, but just so that you're aware, we can have notes above the staff, and we'll learn more about those later. All right, so let's go back and see what happens when we leave a line note and go to the next line note. We're leaving a space out. So when we leave C and go to E, you've skipped over D. When you leave E and go to G, every good boy does fine. Every is your first line on the staff, G is the second. You're skipping over space 1, and that's an F. E, F, G. So here's your E, line 1. Here's your F, space 1, and here's your G. A, B, C. When we leave space 2 and go to space 3, we left A and went to C. Then the note that we skipped was our B. So what I'd like for you to be able to do is to take a look at a note and be able to figure it out. Let's say we had this note. You could start on C line and count C, D, E, F, G, A. And so you can figure out what your note is just by starting at the bottom. Or you could start on the first line of the staff, letter E. E, F, G, A. Either will work. So that's just a handy, quick way to figure out your note name, is to climb the staff using your music alphabet. So let's say we had a note that's here in the third space. Our spaces are F, A, C. So that's an easy find, letter C, by using FACE, F-A-C-E. If it's a line note and we start on line 1, it's every good boy does fine. Okay, now let me give you a few cards to write this down in your notebook. So you'll put today's date, the day that you're watching the video, and then you'll number one, I think it's 4 cards I have today. Number 1, skip a little space, then go down to number 2, skip a little space, 3, and number 4. And this is where you're going to draw your blanks in and put the answers to the notes that I have on the card. Okay, our very first card today is for the treble clef. So it's going to be using Every Good Boy Does Fine and F-A-C-E. So you first ask yourself, is the first note a line note or a space note? Then you have a blank on your paper. You need to have 3 blanks on your paper beside number 1 so that you can put in the answers for these 3 notes. Okay, I'll give you a sec to do that. All right, so our first note, we're asking ourselves, is this a line or a space? Okay, well, I'll do this one with you. This is a line note. Now we have to decide which line is it. Every good boy. So our first answer in our blank is going to be letter B. Okay, so you should have that in the first blank. The second, you ask yourself, is this a line or a space? It's a space note. So let's use what rhymes with space. It's face. F, A, C, E. So put letter E in your second blank. And our last one on this card, ask yourself, is it a line or a space? It is a line, good. So it's every good. So you're going to have letter G for your third answer. So your answer should be B, E, G, big. Okay, now you do this one by yourself. You need 4 blanks. Put number 2 and then put 4 blanks. Okay, so we always start on the left And then we'll do this as our first blank, second blank, third blank, and fourth blank. Okay, so here's our first one. Ask yourself if it's a line or a space. If it's a line, you'll use Every Good Boy Does Fine. If it's a space, you'll use FACE. Okay, find your answer, put it in the first blank. All right, next, ask yourself, line or space? Okay, it is a space, so find your answer and put it in the second blank. Okay, next is the third blank. Going to look at the note, ask, is it a line or a space? It is a line. And then you'll count up using your sentence. And put your answer in the blank. And the last one on number 2, the fourth blank, ask, is it a line or a space? It is a line. And use your sentence. The very first word of the sentence will be your answer. And put the answer in the blank. I'll check that in your notebook at a later time. Okay? Number 3. Now this time I'm not going to actually help you figure it out. I'm going to let you figure it out. Number 3 needs 3 blanks. Okay, if you'll write those 3 blanks down, then this is the note you're going to do first. So put your answer in the first blank. And then you're going to do this note for the second blank and the exact same note for the third blank. So you have 2 letters the same. Now, if you need to go back and rewind the video, if I move too quickly, you can, of course, do that at a later time. Okay, so that is your next. And here is our last one for today. Okay, so you'll need 4 blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first answer. Second answer. Third answer. And our last one goes in the fourth blank. Okay, and then this is back to the beginning where we started today. Okay, so you should have a total of 4 words when you're finished, and I'll check those to make sure you did your video. And this just helps you work on flashcards too. This is like working on flashcards, naming notes. Make sure you're spending 5 minutes a day. I've talked to most of your parents about this. Make sure you set your flashcards out. And every day at some point, just 5 minutes, you go through those, right hand and left hand, because it's going to make you a better piano player. You've got to commit 5 minutes a day to flashcards, and you're going to see that your note reading improves greatly. Okay? All right, so that's kind of our review from Theory Video 1. Now we're ready to move into Theory Video 2, and that is rhythm. Okay, so I'm going to just erase a little bit of this so I have some working room. Okay, so today what I want to do is a little math lesson with you. Music is math. Basically, if you're good in math, you're going to be good in music. So what we're going to do is take, first of all, we're going to draw a whole note. And I do want you to draw this in your notebook, so make sure you've got your pencil and your notebook out and you're copying down what you see me draw on the whiteboard. Okay, so Mr. Whole Note, I'll write that in so you can spell it, W-H-O-L-E. Mr. Whole Note equals 4 beats. Okay, he's the longest note that we have. Now, if we divide that whole note, I'm just going to draw a little line like this, into two equal parts, it would look like this. So if the whole note is worth 4 and we divide it into half, we're going to have a half note here worth 2 plus 2. And that's the same amount of time as a whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4 beats for the whole note. And when you do half, it's 2 here and 2 here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 4 beats, but written as 2 half notes. All right, we can divide our, let's write down half here so you'll know what kind of note that is. We can divide our half note as well. And if we divide our half note, now we're dividing the half note into 2 equal parts, and we call those quarter notes. So they look like this. It's like the half note, except you blacken the face, and you have 1 quarter note, 2 quarter notes. So it equals a half note. 2 quarter notes equal a half, because these are worth 1 each. 1 plus 1 plus, then this half note is divided into 2 quarter notes. 1 plus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. It still equals a whole note. So I could draw a whole note and say a whole note equals what? You could choose 2 half notes equal a whole note, or you could choose 4 quarter notes equal a whole note. Okay? Now we can divide our quarter, oh, let's write down quarter 2. Goodness, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so make sure you have that drawn in. Hopefully you can see how to spell it. Whole note, half note, quarter note. Okay, I'll give you just a minute to get that copied in. And then I'm going to take it on down and divide it once again. Okay, so when we divide it next, we're going to divide it into 1/8 notes. So our quarter note is going to become 2 notes joined with a beam. Those are your 2/8 notes. And then this quarter note is divided into 2 parts, which are 1/8 notes. Takes 2 of them to be 1 beat. So this is 1, 2, and then the last 2. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. So if I have 2/8 notes, it's the exact same thing as a quarter note as far as timing goes. We call the quarter note ta, and we call the 2/8 notes tt. And then our half note is a ta, and our whole note, which is 4, is ta, 4 syllables. Ta, Okay, now hopefully these are 1/8 notes. Hopefully you've gotten that all written down in your notebook. Whole notes get 4 beats. half notes get 2. So if we add 2 of them together, it's the same as a whole note. Quarter notes are 1 each. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. Eighth notes have to be joined together in a group of 2 to equal a quarter note. So 2 eighths, 2 eighths, 2 eighths, 2 eighths. Or T, 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 T. Okay, now you can rewind your video and get this down later if you didn't finish. I'm going to move on. All right, now let me write down a couple rhythm patterns for you to read. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to move on this side. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. We're going to do 3 rhythm patterns. Our first one goes like this. Okay? So if we're going to use ta and tt, this would be ta, the quarter note, and this would be tt, the 2 eighth notes. So our rhythm pattern would sound like this. Ta, ta, tt, ta. And we can clap that rhythm and it'll sound like this. Ta, ta, tt, ta, 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 tt, ta. All right, now let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we're starting out with the 2 eighth note group, and we said that we call 2 eighth notes a TT. So this should sound like T, 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 ta, T, 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 ta. Now if you're clapping that, this is what it should sound like. T, 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 ta, T, 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 ta. All right, your turn. Ready, set, here you go. T, 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 ta. T, 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 ta. All right, now this is your turn to clap number 1. Ready, set, here we go. Ta, ta, T, T, ta, 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 T, T, ta. Good job. All right, now this time we're going to do our last rhythm for today. And it's going to sound like this. Okay, now remember which ones are tas and which ones are TTs. That's right, this is T, T, ta, T, T, ta. T, T, ta, T, T, ta. They all have to fit on a steady beat. T, T, ta, T, T, ta. Now if you're clapping the rhythm, it sounds like this. T, T, ta, T, T, ta. T, T, ta, T, T, ta. Okay, now you try that. Ready, set, your turn. T, T, ta, T, T, ta. T, T, ta. T, T, ta. Good job. Now, this time, we're going to have a little challenge. We're going to see if we can start with number 1 and go all the way to the bottom of number 3. Okay? Ready, set, here we go. Ta, ta, T, T, ta. T, 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 ta. T, T, ta, T, T, ta. Okay, not bad for your first try. I'm going to clap it for you this time. So I'll go all the way across the first row, then the second row, then the third row. Here goes. Ta, ta, T, T, ta. T, 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 ta. T-T-ta, T-T-ta. Okay, hopefully you were successful with clapping rhythms. When you have a piece to learn, excuse me, I'll be right back.